what would you choose? No, really. If you're given the choice between knowledge and experience, what would you choose? I'd like to make an argument that may intrigue you. Knowledge is the prerequisite for doing most of the things that we can do in human society. You first have to know the numbers before you can do algebra. You first need to understand physics before you can design a bridge. You first have to know what a talented public figure has to be before you attempt to be one. Or maybe not. When we were babies, we weren't taught the physics of how to walk, and yet most of us did it at a very young age. We weren't taught the semantical segmentation of language, and yet we were able to speak in somewhat coherent phrases. See? We were able to learn quite a few things without opening up a book or sitting in a lecture. We just got first-hand experience. And I like to make the argument that we need more experience rather than knowledge. I'd say in most cases we need more doing than knowing. How many of us have a friend who's read every book under the sun about drawing, yet they never draw, or attempt to improve their drawing? How many of us know someone who's had hundreds of business ideas and knows everything under the sun about the industry, yet never puts that into practice? How many of us are in a position of knowing so much more about a hobby, yet never attempting to materialize that knowledge? If you wish to know things just for the sake of knowing, just to be enthralled by a subject, then more power to you. But if you're an aspiring anything, and you're doing research in order to avoid the practice, if you're doing the learning in order to avoid putting things into action, if you're just avoiding taking risks and not taking action, then that's a problem. And I'd like to address that. In a world of seemingly endless content streams with infinite amounts of videos to watch, with new questions to be answered, with new people to see the very thing you wish to be doing, there is little reason to take action. The privilege of having boundless information is chipping away at our courage to do things for ourselves. The fact that we know so much is making us lie to ourselves, saying, yeah, I'll do that later. But later never comes. Later doesn't exist. We only have so much time to really experience the things we wish to experience. I know we have to know a few things before we give a speech. We have to have some knowledge before we make a prototype of a game or before we make a minimum viable product for a business. But 9 times out of 10, the experience, you trying something, is more valuable than knowing about it. We know not to touch the stove, but we only get it after we did it. It's even called the scientific method. Fuck around to find out. Now, let me be very clear. There are cases in which you do require knowledge, like attempting a brain operation without having any prerequisite knowledge. That is just bonkers. Or you really need to know the laws in order not to break them. There are specific cases in which you do need to know stuff. And for that, please use your common sense. But for the other things, for the cases where there's little to no risk, where the worst case scenario is a no or an unhappy crowd, for that, I'd say you put your craft into action. For that, I'd say you stop reading and go do. For that, I'd say you stop asking people about the millions of problems that you will encounter along the way and you actually try. For most of the problems, you'll already have the solution. Yet for some of them, you will learn the solution while you are on your path. Maybe you don't even venture fully into all experience and no knowledge, but the only thing I'm asking is that you spend less time knowing about something and spend more time experiencing that thing and putting it into action. Just put a little bit of what you're learning into action. Just experience what you're learning. Just take action on what you're learning. Just a little bit every single day until you get it. See you when I see you.